What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the G.R.I.T.S Code. Thank you all for being here. I am one of your hosts, Tadian, and of course, as always, we have Julian and Earl as well. We're super excited for today's conversation. We think it's a bit different, but really special for us because we're bringing people that are near and dear to our heart, and I actually argue probably the nearest and dearest to our hearts, which are our moms. So, in light of Mother's Day, we want to jump into a conversation and really shift the perspective a bit to not just talk about our lived experience from our lens, but also their lens as well. As you can see, there are 3 hosts, but of course we only have 2 moms here. My mom decided to not partake in this conversation, which is okay, but I think it's important to highlight that for 2 main reasons. Number 1, this is real life, right? That all of our experiences are not the same, that we all have journeys within that are going to look different, but it's also important to have community and find home within yourself as well. So moms, thank you all for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here for them, but also for all of us collectively as well. Before we jump in, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you feel led, also share this with another friend. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready for the tears and all the things. I come prepared. And the laughs and all the other things. But y'all know I stay ready to cry.
Kiki.
We the Kiki fan.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump in. So we're going to start with a question, really for the moms first, and we want to kind of take a journey back, right? So of course we're sitting here today in our own adulthood, if you will, but take us back to that moment of pregnancy, right? Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
What do you remember? We're taking it right there. What do you remember about your pregnancy with Julian and Earl, and how would you describe the day or night in which they were born?
Okay. For when I was pregnant with Earl, this is interesting because I was in denial for a long time. I was going to the doctor and everything, but I kept saying I'm not pregnant. It's weird. It's really, it's really, really weird because when people talk about denial, I didn't get that until then, and after I realized that that's what that was, and I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. But I mean, I went every month.
Wow.
And I took the vitamins, but I didn't really realize in my head I was pregnant. I didn't accept it until I was about 6 months.
Wow.
And when I was pregnant with Earl, that was the most that I showed out of all of my pregnancies. It's a whole stomach. So, but it just wasn't. It was a lot going on.
It seemed unreal.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
And that was. I think about that a lot now. I don't talk about it a lot, but I was like, that's kind of
Interesting. Yeah. So how was that?
Was crazy, but
I'm not saying
my word was crazy.
It was a crazy time.
My word was crazy, but that was a real thing for me then, and it's just strange that I was that way, and I did everything that I was supposed to do to have a healthy baby, but in my brain, that I just I ain't pregnant. I'm not.
So take us to that day of birth. Was that night, morning, over
It
a
was
period
at
of
night.
days?
12:56 a.m.
Yeah. So it was just turning, and it was chaotic. It was chaotic because I worked that day. Earl was due January 7th. And after the New Year's rush, everybody want to get their hair done. I wasn't supposed to work anymore. So I was like, okay, that give me a week.
Yeah.
So that day I worked, it was the 30th. And I was supposed to work the 31st. So that night, I got home, I was in the bed. I was like, these contractions.
Yeah.
And my sister was there. I was still living at home with my mom. My sister and her boyfriend was there. And it just saying, everything just, all right, let's go. It was my mom and the 2 of them and me. We got to the hospital and I almost had Earl in the hallway. Like, they literally rushed me in the room. We taking, trying to get me changed so they can check, how far you dilated or whatever. And I just remember the door being open, everybody running in. I did not care. I was like, We got to do something. I was like, I need to take something because pain is a little more than I remember.
Wow.
And they was like, it's too late. I was like, it's too late. Yes. So
That's not what you want.
at that point, they were pretty much, they checked me and they was like, you know what, you're gonna push 3 times and he's gonna be here, and that's what happened.
Wow.
And everybody was there. Like the door opened, like it was like minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then this little boy came.
And have been moving fast
And
ever since.
yes. And I even, because I had told him over there, I was like, well, how do you feel? I was like, I was so exhausted, I couldn't hold him. And I think Nicole had you. I think she put your face on mine. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm so hungry. And then one of the nurses, she said, I'm going to get you something to eat. And I was like, okay. She brought me a ham and cheese sandwich. It was warm. Mm-hmm. And I remember all of that because I was like, this sandwich is gourmet. As soon as I got that sandwich down, I was sick. Wow. I was like, oh, God. Mm-hmm. And that's what I remember about that night. Like, everything happened so fast, and I didn't care who was in the room. It was just a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It seemed like you could just walk down the hall. She having her baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in.
After a certain point, you just lose all of that anyway. It's just like, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't care who sees. Just come on.
And it seemed like a lot, but all of that happened within a short period of time. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Mama, you gotta think about which one.
Okay, so now when I found out I was pregnant with Julia, you have to keep in mind I just had a baby 15 months before. Oh. Well, mine was all about 15 months apart. And so I was shocked a little bit, but I'm like, okay. And so went to the doctor, had to go. And but it was really a really lovely pregnancy. It just really was a really nice pregnancy.
I'd like to take credit for that.
And so we knew it was going to be a scheduled C-section. So that's what happened. And he came calm. Just was a beautiful experience. His dad got him as soon as they took him from me. He got him, and they put him on me, and just everything went well.
Wow.
Just latched on like he was supposed to. Nursed forever.
Not forever.
To this day.
Forever. But other than that, it was a great pregnancy. His dad was kind of like, all right, that's enough of that nursing, right?
What month was it? Like, when did y'all pry me off?
Not pry.
Well, it was over a year.
Wow.
It was over a year.
That is
so. And it was, you were just very determined. You were determined you were going to not wean.
I'm here.
That is interesting. Yeah, I wonder what that means.
Right, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, scientifically, I don't know.
But that means that you got all the wonderful nutrients that mother's milk provides.
Exactly.
Wow. So I want to put the focus on you all a little bit deeper and just get to know you more individually. At that time, so contextualize yourself in that time frame. What were your individual dreams and fears that you had as an individual woman navigating society while carrying Earl and Julian?
For me, at that, I was so young, just getting through it. And because I was already a stylist, I was working in the salon, just trying to figure it all out. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make it happen. Yeah.
Because Earl is second. Yeah.
And at around that time, like I said, I was still at home. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. And which I did. Like,
literally 2 weeks.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories that my godmother tells me is that our first place, my mom literally was on 3 weeks post having me, or 4.
It wasn't even. It was a few days.
A few days.
I think it was maybe about a week or 2. I'll say that.
Out in the rain with driving the car to find us our first.
Well, I had it. But I had to go in then, or they was gonna go to the next person.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I needed to get paperwork signed, and you got to do everything.
Right.
And of course, then this wasn't Cash App, Zelle, none of that. You need to get over there, get your paperwork,
get your money order.
all that.
Yeah.
So it was that, and I was like, I'm not gonna let this apartment go.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm out of here.
And you did it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And took your babies on and did your
I
thing.
did. He was in the car.
Literally.
Wow.
Yeah, you stay in the car with him while I go in here.
Take care of his business.
Just like a black mom.
Yes, ma'am.
You got it.
Yeah.
We already here.
Oh, yes, you got it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that part I really, really like was determined.
Wow.
That's just who I am. If I see it, I'm gonna just
Get it.
This is the true definition of perseverance.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It was hard, but it was done.
Yeah.
Dreams and fears.
Dreams and fears. Okay. Dreams of a healthy pregnancy, a healthy baby. Before I had the 6 boys, I had 4 miscarriages. So I was always concerned when I found out I was pregnant, just making sure it would be a viable, healthy pregnancy. But we were also moving from Oklahoma to South Carolina while I was pregnant. So once we made the move, and I was blessed because I did my interview for my job online. Not online, but on the phone. And so I was interested. I told them I was interested in coming back to South Carolina and looking for a position. I'm a speech therapist. And so they were like, oh, sure. And that was pretty much my interview.
Yeah.
And so it was a blessing. And I went there and pregnant. A little concerned because I came in pregnant, so my insurance didn't kick in.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of take care of things differently, his dad and I, financially. However, like I said, the pregnancy was great, the job was great, and so just no major fears other than those.
Yeah.
Let's get this money straight. Let's pay for this bill, and then making sure that it was a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so my dreams always healthy, and smart.
Yeah.
Have all the fingers and toes and all that good stuff. And he did it because he was a beautiful baby.
Okay.
All right, beautiful baby.
Now, Julie could have been a Gerber baby. I am not saying
I'm gonna put a picture right here on the screen. Right here on the photo.
I already got the picture.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. I love that. Earl, you were talking about your mom and you used the word resilience. I'm going to open up an activity, if you will. I'm going to have you both describe each other. So Earl's going to describe you, you're going to describe Earl, vice versa, same here, and 3 words each. So 3 words for your mom and 3 words for your son. How would you describe them?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it made me giggle because I feel like I'm a mirror of my mom in all the ways. Driven, consistent. Can I use 4?
Sure.
Determined. And honestly, the word just key comes to mind because it's never a dull moment with my mom. Like, we always having a time.
Like a key.
Yes, a key. Like, we're a fun time.
Yeah.
Same laugh. Loud.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like I am my mom. So I don't know what she's gonna say, but I feel like all my best qualities come from my mom.
I like that, Earl.
So, Mom, I'm gonna let you sit with that for a second.
Yeah, I got it.
Julian, how would you describe your mom?
For my mom, I would describe you as, it's not a usual adjective, but just there. Like, you've always been there, like, through, like, everything. Patient. Like, patience, like, people say, like, patience is a virtue, but, like, quite literally, I feel like it's your virtue, like, truly, with all the crap that we did in the house with 6 boys, and I truly don't know.
Imagine.
I'm asking, could you imagine
I
6
don't
of me?
know.
No.
Literally. Yeah, Mom, you're like superwoman to me. So that's my other adjective. Yeah. I know that there's God because of just who you are and how you express love and show love to all of us. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stop! Don't start.
Because
Y'all know I'm ready. Y'all know I'm ready.
You gotta put that hand right on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Want to be Oprah? Oprah lean.
I'm getting in my Oprah bag today. And if I can insert, I would love to also describe my mom. Because I think it's, I opened up with context, but my mom is still my favorite person.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
And we're all navigating individual journeys, and that's why it's so important for us to showcase this in this way, because there's room for grace.
Yeah.
We all need grace in our individual experiences. There's also room for accountability.
Yeah.
Right? Both things can be true at the same time. But my mom, as descriptors, I would say graceful. I would say giving. I would say intentional. Beautiful. Yeah, those are my words.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Mom, we're coming back to you. How would you describe Earl?
My handsome son. Number one, Earl is very strong-willed in meaning what he believes, he stands in it.
Absolutely.
And I like that. I love that.
Yes.
Even though sometimes we,
It can be a clash.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not a clash. It's a good clash. That okay, that's what he believes. I need you to stand in what you believe, because not only will you do it here, you're going to do it out in the world, which is super important. And he's unafraid to be who he is, and I kind of envy that, because I don't feel like I always have the courage. So I say he's courageous, and he's hilarious. I like his wit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of words for Earl. He's determined, and I know you said 3.
You on 5 right now. Maybe 6.
Love him.
Yeah.
It's he has a lot of good characteristics that I really like. I'm glad he has them, but they're not just there. He stands in all of them, meaning you just don't see a little bit of it. Sometimes you see it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, he's who he is all the time, and I love that.
Consistent.
Yes, consistent
I'm really
is right.
I'm gonna cry on this episode. This is crazy.
Do you saw how I brought that up?
Yeah.
No, but I'm serious. I do love that he stands in who he is, and that's super important.
That's just so
All of
interesting,
them, all
though.
of my kids, that I need them to stay there.
But I feel like you're like so courageous. I just find it interesting that you say you don't feel like that always, because I feel like you modeled that for me. I don't know fear because I feel like you, again, have perseverance through everything.
I get that, but I mean for myself.
Yeah.
For them, no, I'm going in.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have children, there is no fear. So I'm going to stand behind them, stand in front of them, all around them. But sometimes when it comes to myself, I'm like, I don't think I can do that. But I see them do it, and I know I did the right thing. But I know I need to work on me to get where I got them. How's that?
Yeah.
Y'all about to make me a little
And,
wet eyes.
And viewing it as one of the things we always say on this platform is that in all things, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yes.
We all have room to constantly get to the next level of that thing, even if it is courage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something, that's the name of my church too.
What, courage?
Journey.
Journey.
And that's our
Slow.
Wow.
yes. Yeah. So yeah, it is But like I said, he sees that, and I want him to see that. But I know how I am inside.
Yeah.
But for your kids, you're going to be all of that, even though you might be on the inside for yourself. Like, I don't think I'm good for that. I need to work on myself a little bit more before I go that for myself.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Mom.
All right. So Julian is intelligent, and he's quick-witted, but it's like the kind of dark.
Very.
I knew you say that all the time.
Not the dark humor.
Very dark.
That has not changed.
Not at all. It is only grown.
He is strong and he is very conscientious.
Yeah.
And I love all of those qualities. There's so many more. I mean, we could do the whole ABCs and we could go down. But just to come off of some things, just kind of off the cuff, those are the things that I would say.
Yeah.
And endearing, very endearing.
Yeah. Deep breaths.
Yeah, deep breaths.
Yeah. Thank y'all for holding that space. Julian, I'll pass it to you.
Yes. So I want to talk a little bit about terminology, and specifically terminology. I think in like the LGBTQ plus space, like especially online, you see a lot of people that just notice that words change. The meanings of words are changing always. Words are always evolving, right? And that's changes from generations to generations, but also like regionally, the words that we use to describe ourselves, to describe others, just evolve. And so the question really boils down to a lot of people today using the word queer to describe themselves. And so we thought it would be interesting to talk to you all about that word in particular, to figure out maybe what words were used when you all were, in your youth, young adults, what have you, to describe people who have experiences like ours, who are in this LGBTQIA space or this queer space, who have those experiences. And then has that changed today? What words did you use then, and has it changed to today?
That's a good question.
It's like a history question.
Yeah, it is. Because I feel like I use the same words, gay, lesbian. I never really use queer. I know what queer, when someone says queer, I know, okay. But I never really use that word. Just gay or lesbian.
Yeah, lesbian. I feel like some of it also has to do with like maybe the connotation of queer. Like, did you all have a sense that queer was like a bad word as you were growing up, or was that?
I didn't think queer was. I'm not familiar with queer as much when I was growing up. That wasn't really. I guess queer was like when that movie or the show was like queer.
Queer spoke.
Queer Eye.
Queer Eye.
Oh yeah.
Then that became more of an acceptable, I guess, term.
Yeah. Because I don't really remember people using that word either.
And I know back in the day,
but
queer actually was more like offensive.
Was it?
For some groups.
Oh.
But this kind of makes I think the question too is like when you think about regionally how these different words are used, maybe queer was more so used like in bigger cities or in the north or
maybe,
on the coast or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But not in South Carolina. No. Okay.
I don't remember that word like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember people using that word.
Well, you heard it here first.
I mean, but I know what queer, like,
You know what it is.
Yes.
That is interesting. Kind of staying along those lines as well. How did your particular upbringings, whether that's culturally, in your background, influence your understanding and acceptance, particularly in relations to Black LGBTQ, plus communities, and even more specifically the Black gay community?
Well, I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, and my mother was a lay person, which is kind of like a pastor, a preacher, and she would speak for different occasions. And so, of course, we all that have been raised in the church have the experience of,
particularly in the South.
Particularly in the South, the ideas around any type of relationship beyond what the church espouses is the right thing. it was viewed negatively. However, I must say my dad was not one of those pastors that was, pounding the pulpit about sexuality or anything. But he was a Presbyterian pastor. So then we had a young man. I've always known someone who was in this community because he lived a couple of houses down, and so he was always around. So it just never was really a weird thing because Bobby was always around, and he would do little things and come. I remember he killed a snake in our yard one time, and so I will never forget that. And but he was a strong person, and in that period of time, a very strong person. Very strong person. Another person I remember when we were in school, and he was friends of your dad at the time, his brother, and so he was around. So it just wasn't a particularly odd thing. It was different.
Yeah.
Because they were a little more like you guys are. Really kind of settled and things of that nature, and sometimes they were a little more flamboyant, I guess, but they had such good hearts. They were just cool.
Yeah.
I can't put it any other way. They're just cool people, and they're both gone now. But those are my early memories.
I even remember you talking about them, or maybe Bobby, at a certain point as I was growing up, and I don't know if it was someone else, maybe in the church at some point. I don't want to name drop anyone because I don't know what they got going on. But I always think about those moments even today as like, was that you and Dad's way of kind of like trying to lean in and see like, there's something going on here.
Testing the water.
No, but that was really truly just how I felt because I've grown up around. I'm just talking about those two, but it was just one of those things. Acceptance, because I didn't know anything to do but accept. Everybody loved him in the neighborhood. Everybody loved the other young man. I was about to say the name, but
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. It's community. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Mom?
Well, we wasn't in the church all the time. Like, I guess I said that because she said she grew up in the church. We went to church, but I don't feel like in our family, but Earl may think differently, that it's just you are whoever you are. And that's just what it is. It wasn't like, oh, you can't do this or you can't live this way. It was just, if that's who you are, it's okay. So I think it was more freedom in our house.
And you processed that very young. Wow.
You are who you are. I feel that way, but
no, I mean they've heard me say it.
Yeah.
If any restraints I've ever felt is something I put on myself. I've never heard anything negatively said about the gay community. I had family members that I might not have recognized, so I got a little bit older, like, oh, that's been your boyfriend all these years.
Yeah.
But like it was never a huge, like we got announced. It's just like, oh, hey, there goes so and so, and uncle so a cousin is just that, and so
just family.
Be who you are. That's just what it was.
Like, oh, you said something. It wasn't that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Now, if it is, I don't know.
Right.
And they might not know. They might know not to bring that.
I'm about to say, and I think that that's another part of if it is, it has never been said, and I think there's just an understanding of don't cross a certain.
Don't bring that here.
Don't bring that here.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is also powerful and speaks to how you've shown up in spaces, and people know like, we're not gonna do that over here.
Right.
Which is beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, be who you are, but don't come over here talking about who
somebody
or what
else
else.
doing that thing.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Not in this family. We're very
it's gonna be
Vocal.
an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep rolling. Okay. Perfect. All right. So, Earl, I'll pass it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going back, and this is for both of you.
Uh-oh.
So as we were growing up, did you notice anything that made us unique? That you identified as like, okay, that there's some queerness maybe or gay. And how did you process that? And I got a second part of that, but let's start with that one.
Not necessarily.
Really?
I mean, as a young child, no.
Okay.
No. Because Earl got into everything.
Yeah.
When I say
I was right.
everything, jumping off everything.
Stayed in the emergency room.
Yes, like active, very active. And still today, because he always doing something. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he was always doing things. But I can't say, right, like, anything. I think we had to like, but it didn't seem strange.
Yeah, it just seemed like personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't seem different. Like, he is who he is. So, no, I didn't really.
When did you start getting signs?
Maybe in high school.
What a time.
What's up? Am I right? Am I right? Maybe high school, college.
What made you say that? You see, I'm digging.
Just, but it was hard to say because you and TJ used to be gone all the time, and I used. I don't want to say that, but remember he say that girl gonna end up with baby.
Oh,
and she did. Our little cousin, but it was hard because I don't know what are y'all doing. You know, it's like where y'all going? What's that?
Yeah.
But we really weren't doing nothing, which is so funny. We weren't. We literally. I wasn't doing nothing.
But you was there.
I was always down.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Mom. What are y'all doing?
Yes, what's going on?
But we all literally just be hanging out. That's it, I promise.
And so, and that's another thing. That's true. You might have all been hanging out, but it was a blend of people.
Yeah.
So you don't know. Like, okay.
But I was never a child to lie. I tell it all.
No. He did and does.
Now, for me, I think it was high school. And the reason I say high school, there was this young lady, and I was thinking that you liked her. And the story basically became like there was never, like, the timing wasn't right or something like that kind of situation. Yeah. And I kind of thought that, and so after a while I said, well, you know, he doesn't have a girlfriend. He never had a girlfriend.
Never had a girlfriend.
So, what's that? So, and I mean, that was really, I guess, where I was like, oh, okay, well, no. What? But then you didn't say anything. And so, so I was like, well, he's busy all the time and he's in everything and president of this and da-da-da this and da-da-da-da. He doesn't have time for a friend. And so I just kind of...
Come on, friend.
See, Earl had a lot of friends.
Hold on. Wait, clean it up. Wait, no, but clean it up.
Meaning, I feel like your friend circle was kind of not huge, but
the friend circle, but I mean like a friend.
But I had girlfriends here and there.
Yeah. That's why I said.
See, I never had a girl.
Oh no, I was on dates and things.
Yeah, so it was like you don't like what. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
That died.
That is interesting. Yeah.
So okay, when you did start recognizing signs, or did y'all ever talk to anybody about it, or did anybody ever come to y'all?
That's a good question.
People would ask me, "Oh, well, Julia got a girlfriend?" Because the other ones were just running rampant with the girlfriends. And so I said, "No." "Oh, okay."
Huh. Not even like a girlfriend where you were like, really?
Well, it was the girl that I thought he liked her.
No, I'm sorry. Like, did you have a girlfriend of yours that you were like,
Do you notice anything? Or
My
Yeah.
best girlfriend and my line sister. No, because Julian used to strip all the time when he was a baby. He would strip.
still do
Not
mama?
to-
I'm kidding.
nothing's changed. I'm just
She had a little separate name for him back in the day. So I can't remember what it was.
I
Black
guess that was the
Diamond.
next question.
Black Diamond. My Aunt Carol used to call me that.
Because that was his stripping name, because he would strip.
You learning it all today.
And so, but even with that, we didn't even discuss it. She was like, "Well, you got a girlfriend?" I said, "No." And I just left it at that. But we never discussed it. Now we probably will now, but
Yeah.
What about you, Latoya? Precious, nothing.
No,
Let me get
because
here.
because they just, I guess, I don't know. Like I said, we just kind of let people be who they are, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it wasn't about like we're going to talk about who they are.
Yeah.
Just
It's so interesting though. I think we grow up having these
Ideas.
ideas
Yeah.
of what that experience is. I know even for me, when I first had a conversation with my mom, she mentioned that her and my dad have been having this conversation since I was a kid. About them feeling, knowing, thinking that I was gay, queer, however they were defining it within their own conversation. But they just continued to pray about it. So I'm not sure if they ever took the conversation out of their like bedroom.
yeah.
But I know they were at least having the hum, which was Earl's question, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to also hear your perspective as well on that.
I'm gonna go back, but this wasn't when he was young. I think me and Toya had a conversation because Earl was big mad, and I said, "Child, he just feel like I just don't understand his lifestyle, but that ain't who I am." You know, I think it was he was in college. I think we was arguing about something.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yeah, he think I just don't
But
understand
it
and
wasn't
don't."
about that.
I felt like it was. I said, "Child, he'll get over it. He'll find out later that it's not."
But it wasn't that.
What it was?
It wasn't that. It was
Mm.
but it wasn't that.
Look,
It
another
wasn't-
podcast.
but I never but that was never a question.
And that's the only kind of conversation that we had about that. And she was like, "What?" I was like,
But it wasn't that. It was
She didn't think.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never questioned that.
She was like, "Why would he think that?" I was like,
I didn't. It was
"No, Earl."
I think it was more so just us having more. One, I think it was a shift, right? So I'm a mama's boy growing up. And I do think all parents, just naturally, when your kid is growing up, it's hard, I think, to deal with when your kid is, you're my baby, but now you're like my adult kid.
Yeah.
And so I think we just had a lot of
It was a transition.
transition difficulties around me and my manhood and finding my walk and trying to be independent, even doing things against the way you wanted me to do it. But I also just feel like when that shift happened, there was less communication or vulnerability between us. And so it was never that, but I also don't think I was inviting you into certain conversations with me.
Mm-hmm.
Not intentionally, but I just think there was this natural invisible walls. So it was never around that at all. I've never even questioned that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only conversation with a girlfriend that we had concerning, that. But yeah, because Earl also was my child that he couldn't wait to be grown. He thought, 18, I'm grown. I can do this and I can,
Yeah.
So yeah, when he said coming to his manhood, yes, it was a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
It was a lot of pushback because it was like, no, Earl, you're not. No,
Mm.
you're not that.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're
Bring it in a
not.
bit.
Grown-ish.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That discovery period, I feel like for us is so interesting because obviously you all have raised us and whatnot, but as we're going out into the world, getting to that college age, it's like we're seeing the world, a bigger world. We're on our own in some ways, in more ways than we previously have been, and it's kind of like we are also discovering what it's like to be a man, be a black man in the South, and then this level of queerness that we're still discovering. Like if it's okay, even if we've been surrounded with it being okay as kids, the world is not necessarily feeding us that.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, those were like my first. Those were I was ready to go because I was ready to explore a different part of me that I never, I didn't have any gay experiences until I got to college. I didn't even have like the full realization because I told her before I thought I was bi, but getting to college and I really was like, okay, these are some new spaces, trying to figure that out, and then I had like these where these thoughts came from, I don't know because I didn't grow up religious, but I just started having these thoughts like, damn, I'm about to go to hell. So like really like trying to have to process that, navigate that, but I didn't invite anyone into that space. So like even my friends, no one knew until I was a junior in college. So like navigating that, being in my own head, I had a lot of barriers up with people.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's deep. I think that the experiences, I know we all connect on that front, just like the doomsday of it all, and feeling that, I know for me, and especially for us as the resident PKs of the RITS, just those messages of, wow, my soul can't be saved because of this thing that I didn't want, ask for, it just happened to be a part of me, and the fear really that was imposed, but also not knowing if there's a way out. So there's like you feel trapped within yourself. You're trying to pray it away. You're going to church, trying to work your way out of it through all of these different, all these different methods.
But then it's
and
like
not changing.
The duality of how in these spaces where I'm gay I feel the most free, but then I'm like having this duality of like, oh, but when I'm by myself, is this right? Is this wrong? And you're just like constantly going back and forth with it.
Yeah, and it's also, and again, that gets to a much broader conversation around like the work that our anchor institutions have to do, particularly the church being an anchor institution within the Black community, particularly the Southern Black community. Because there's always this, to your point, this nuance and dissonance between a God of love, but also that doesn't apply to you. Right? It applies to everything except your lived experience. And when you're hearing that from such an early age, it only compounds unless you find yourself in community and spaces that reaffirm what that means. And it even makes me think back to like, the mom thing with me. Her not being here was a personal choice because of her spiritual standing. Right? And there's room for both of us to have our own spiritual standings, still serving the same God.
That's right.
And as I think about that, I process with Earl and Julian, who also showed, thank you both for showing up in the ways in which we do for each other. They just kind of virtually wrap their hands around me through text. And but I said something that was very important, which is why I'm lifting this up. I said, what I've realized in this day that I couldn't have a year ago or 10 years ago is that I built a home here. And this isn't a straw home that you can huff and puff and blow it down. That I've done that self-work, and I've had community to help me do that self-work, and that over time has affirmed what my lived experience is. And I lift that to say, as we talk about, though we have the church and all these other anchor institutions or ideologies to in a way rule our lives, that the more you minimize that and fill that cup with the right things, with the right love, with the right perspective, with the right affirmations, you find yourself on this side of the journey where you can sit here, right, and be okay. Not perfect, but you can be okay.
Still standing.
Still standing.
And that
Strong
word you said
foundation.
before, grace.
Grace.
Yes.
Remember that grace part.
Grace.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a journey for all of us, right, within this lived humanity. not just experience, but lived humanity, and creating space, which is that grace for all of that to all be okay at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to get into a question to you all, because Earl kind of hit on it as well, talking about the junior year. And I want to kind of hear from the son's perspective. Your experience of one of the things we do on this show, we try not to uplift the words coming out, because we feel as though that's not a weight we have to carry. But we say coming into. So Earl and Julian, what was your experience or dynamic of coming out into, particularly to your mothers?
Yeah, it was it was a journey. So the fear around it, I think I was just ready to push past. Like, to me, the world that I created in my head about, oh my gosh, they can kick me out and I won't have anywhere to go. And again, none of these things you all showed,
Right.
but it's just like all these messages, like through all of these different mediums. I'm just like, watching the news, hearing just like the hellfire and brimstone at times in different churches, just not being sure if it's okay. So that world I created for myself, I feel like, since I was young, throughout probably, I don't know, the earlier parts of college maybe. And then once I got to college and I was kind of able to discover more about who I am truly, not in the backdrop of, oh, you're a Holland and your family is so well known and respected and all these things. You're now in Rock Hill and you're able to more deeply know yourself and also just discover the things that you like, regardless of like your family background. So in that moment, this was 2014, where I really started to, I think, truly know who I am, just like my identities, the things that I love and care about. And I think 2016 maybe, we were vacationing at the beach, and that was the day where I was just like, okay, I think in my life I was in a relationship and I was just like, okay, I'm tired of not being truthful. Really, it felt like, not that I was lying necessarily, but it just, you all weren't getting it was like a lie of omission, basically.
Yeah.
And you all were not seeing this Julian that so many friends and people who love me get to see. And I felt like that was wrong for me not to bring you all into the fullness that I was experiencing at that moment. So yeah, that was kind of what made me say, okay, I'm gonna push past the fear and anxiety. Maybe have a drink before I say this. No, I did it sober, by the way. But yeah, I just really, I wanted to say, this is who I am. And so I remember going into your room and just sitting on your bed and basically having a conversation like this, right? And just said, Mom, I probably danced around it a little bit. Yeah. And could you tell, like, I was about to, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so your response in that moment was, duh. And then you just went ahead and said, like, I love you, you're supported. I think you asked me maybe if I was dating, or I know you asked me, like, am I being safe? I think that was a part of it as well.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And yeah, it wasn't hard after that. It was just like a weight had been lifted, though. And like a veil had been torn between like the Julian that you all know and love and everything and raised, but also who I want to be as an individual. So yeah.
And that was a great thing, because just like there was a weight lifted from you, there was a weight lifted from me, because I was still kind of like, I was just like, la, 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 but like, you didn't really say anything. But now in college, I was kind of looking at your friend group and the different things that you were doing. And I was just like, okay, but he ain't telling me nothing. So why isn't he telling me anything? My little feelings were a little, I was like, because we close enough to talk.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not saying nothing to him. So what am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
So,
that's always so interesting to me, because it's like, I don't really think there's a right or wrong way in terms of like the coming into. I don't really know who bears the responsibility for like starting the conversation, because it can be so nuanced depending on
The
relationship, the person. So yeah, I don't think there's like a right or wrong way to do it, but like it is kind of like I wonder like why didn't. Well, actually, I can't say that. Now that I think about it, y'all did ask me at some point, or maybe Dad asked me.
Because I don't.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but I wouldn't doubt. Your dad was straightforward. He probably would, but he didn't say anything.
I think he asked me one day. He sat me down. Okay, separate from you.
Okay.
There was a question at one point, like this might have been freshman year in high school, where he asked me about it, and I did lie then. I said no, but yeah, that's just because I'm like I don't know.
I was gonna ask, did you know?
I did know.
I'm stuttering over here.
Yeah, I did. I feel like I knew that there was this element because with my family it's 6 boys, so I'm the only one who is queer out of the 6 of us, and so I had all of these other examples of like, boys dating girls, having girlfriends, going on dates. I remember like the conversation that specifically my dad was having with all of us around like wrapping it up, being safe, and all of that stuff. But I knew that didn't really apply to me in a certain way, and so
not the way he was explaining it.
Yeah, and so I knew that. I would say, I don't know, as early as middle school, like early middle school too. I mean, like 6th grade, and probably before that.
Yeah.
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 We do
that a lot.
But that's specifically like that dating piece, like that's when like 6th grade I was like looking around like who can I actually date, and I think some of the what we hope to do, I think, with the platform and having these conversations is foster more discussion around this, because I think so many unsafe things can happen to little boys, little girls, little people who are in elementary, middle school, what have you, who don't feel safe enough to just say, I like boys or I like girls or whatever. Because it kind of pushes you to that closet, which is why we don't like to say come out as well. It pushes you kind of to the periphery, like to the margins, and it's not safe in the margins for people all the time.
Well, let me ask this question. I know I'm not the person to
No,
ask
look,
questions.
Oh no, this is all a flow discussion.
So, when your dad had this conversation, the freshman conversation, is that when the girl that you that young lady that I was perceiving that you liked her, and is that when that appeared?
Wow, yeah. I don't even know if that was intentional, but yeah, I did feel like I needed to
cover it up,
have a beard.
I was going to say that.
So you had a little beard, let's smoke a mirror.
I never put that in context like that, actually. Yeah. I was going to say that.
You need to put the definition of beard on the screen for the moms who are watching who are learning.
What's a beard?
Right. I'm sorry, but yeah, to that point, I know you shared it on the show before.
I'll share again, but it's what makes me laugh is my dad asked me as well. When I was
Never told me that.
I did tell you that because you said, and what did he say? But it was we ain't gonna get into all that. But no, my dad asked me. I had to be like 15 or 16, and he asked because I've always had like a very close little group of friends, but my friends have primarily consisted of women, and I had a few like male friends, and so I had a cousin, and I think they just were just casually talking, but I don't know what conversations were had. I ain't gonna get too all in depth in that, but he just came to me and said, I have a question for you, because he's teaching me how to drive. He was like, are you gay? And I said, where is this coming from?
And this is your dad?
Yeah. Okay. And he was like, well, don't get mad. And he was talking about my cousin at the time. He's like, well, they just said, like, I know you got a lot of female friends. And I was just like, no. I just said no. And he's like, well, it's all right if you are. But then he's like, and there's nothing wrong with having female friends. I'd rather you actually have female friends, because boys would get you in trouble. And he was like, I got in a lot of trouble, so just stay with the girls. I'd rather you stay with the girls. And I'm just like, okay. never talked about it again.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
But did you have any interesting guys at that time? At 14,
No,
15?
but there were. I've had girlfriends that have asked homegirls that would say like, "Oh yeah, like somebody wondered if you were gay just because you're always with." Like people would ask questions, and so at the time I was just like, I'm not even really thinking about that. I know it's a question that people have, but it's not a question that I have for myself. And I think it probably was something always there. I also wasn't attracted to nobody at my school but the girls, so I think that was another piece too. I'm like, if I am, ain't none of these dudes doing it for me. So it wasn't until I got to college where I was like, oh, and I mean it was like first week. I was like, okay, they were right. The people, they were right. All this heat. The girls knew.
The light bulb came on.
But I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, yeah. But for me, I've told y'all, and I use the terms interchangeably, but my coming out, my mom was so lackluster. And I say that because, one, I think my oldest sister, she knew way prior because I had a conversation with her.
Yeah.
I called her on the phone and I was like, where you at? She's like, I'm in the mall. And I was like, I need to share something. She's like, just say it. I'm on the phone. Like, I'm in the mall. So I just told my sister over the phone. And her first question was like, okay, that's not surprising. When do you want to tell mama? And I was like, ooh, girl, let's relax. We'll figure it out. And so she's like, okay. So my sister would keep like bringing it up. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to tell her. And I think just older kids, they just be wanting to try to spearhead stuff. So she's like, well, we can tell her on this date and we can go, let's come down. So I think my sister tried to like oversee it.
Yes.
Which, it just made it weird at first. I had to be like, move, please. Because she then was like, wait, I was like, well, I'm gay. My sister was like, well, I thought you were bi. And I'm like, hush, just let us talk. Also, the timing was weird because my mom had just took some medicine. So she was, again, it was in her bedroom. So she was in the bed and she's like, what is all this seriousness? What's going on? She's like, what are y'all about to say to me? Is everything all right?
Yeah.
So I just was like, well, I'm blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, as quiet as it is, that's how she was. I was like, you ain't got nothing to say? And she was just like, I'm sleepy.
I was sick.
She was just like, what do you want me to... She was just like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, you dating? And I was like, no. And then she was like... And then she's like, well, you just said bye. Which one is it? She was like... Then I said, no, that's not what it is. And then she was like, okay, well, who knows? Who you told before me?
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
That's where she went. Because she wanted to know if I told my auntie before. She's like, who you told before me? And I was just like, does that matter? Yeah. She was just like... I said, well, all right. I'm going downstairs. Yeah.
It did matter. Because I felt like, come to me. Because I felt like they could come to me with information or whatever you need to talk about or something you might need to know. Come to me first because I'm going to give you the best advice. If I don't have it, I'm going to find out. Yes. So, no, don't go to nobody else. Come to me. Let's talk about this thing. Yeah. But that day I was sick because I used to have migraines, and they used to take me down. And that day, I remember that day, and my head was pounding, and I'm like, what? No. Yeah. I just told y'all I don't feel good. Yeah. Y'all coming here. Yeah. You were sitting on one end, and I'm like this.
Then we was like, go downstairs with the mom. Come on. And then she's like, why she got to leave? Why are we being secretive? What is going on?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, what? Why she can't stay right here? What's going on?
Wow.
Hey, somebody sick. Y'all hurt?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
That's when the mama bear came out because she was like, what's going on?
That mama fear thing.
Yeah.
Hold up. What's going on?
What happened?
And we making the younger siblings leave. She's like, what is going on?
Why she need to leave?
She started sitting up there and she's like, this is getting too serious.
Yeah.
All right. So looking back, right after we're going to have this full conversation, is there anything that you all wish you had known or done differently with us? And supporting us in our journeys, self-discovery, and all that good stuff.
I probably feel like I should have asked more questions, but when I see how you move and do things, I feel like it went the way it needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I agree. I think everything creates, and so the things that have happened over the course of time have created who you are currently. And so any shift or change could have done something different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm totally satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Other than maybe, we had more money or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Buy some lottery tickets.
Question for the sons: what ways do you see reflections of your mother's influence of, values, attitudes, and perspectives on life show up in how you view the world today?
Well, I'm gonna echo it again. I was never taught limits by my mom. So there's nothing I don't think I can achieve. My mom there's never been a conversation of, I don't know about that, or you sure, or that might be difficult. It was like, okay. Well, when you gonna do it?
No, what's the plan?
What's the plan?
Do you have a plan?
It was always, what's the plan, and what can we do to help? So I think one of the biggest things for me is I can achieve all. I've seen my mom, me at 31. I don't know how my mom was raising me and my sister in her 20s, and I don't say we were spoiled, but she probably used that word. But anything I've ever wanted, I got. My mom always said, your sole job is school. Yeah. And then on every birthday, since I probably was about 9 or 8, to this day, she say, New Year life is New Year responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so there's all that she's done, and I don't want to say strong because I don't like to put that on black women, but my mom has always just been, again, persevered. Anything we ever needed, got it done, not a blink of an eye, not a question, not a maybe, not a if, it was done. Yeah. And so there's nothing I don't feel like I can't do, and it's because of what she's instilled in me. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love that.
Thank
you. I'll say for me, probably from you, it's like the way that you make hard things look easy. I think that's direct. I get that directly from you. That's a direct pass down. How you engage with other people, I think you really know how to talk to everyone in a way that makes them feel like welcome, and even like whenever you used to like make phone calls or what have you, and like, I don't know, pay a bill or whatever, you would talk to whoever would answer the phone like they grew up with you basically. And it's just like, I feel like I carry that even with like throughout my career. Honestly, that's like a tenet that I need to do my jobs well, and I think I get that definitely from you, just like meeting people where they're at and speaking to them just like on this one-to-one.
Yeah, because you don't meet a stranger.
Yeah. And even like from you, it's like just the warmth I think that you give to people, and I think I have that same thing. And then Dad was charismatic, so I think like the charisma that I have, like a little bit of excitement, boyish charm, I think I get from that side from him. But just that warmth and making people feel welcome, making things look easy, like this element of, I guess like long suffering and just being able to endure things and really, and just make it look like you're not going to break a sweat, because you know like things will work out in the end. Yeah. Yeah, I think I get that from you.
Love it.
Okay, last question, I believe.
Well, second to last.
The penultimate question.
Make it spicy.
So this question I have for you all from moms. So first, I'll start with this. What kind of qualities should your son's partner or romantic interest have? So what kind of qualities should that person have who would date us? And what would make that person a good fit for us.
Okay.
And then I'll have a follow-up question after that.
Honest. Smart. I don't say clean, but clean.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think loving.
Yeah.
I like
I
those.
agree with that.
I like those. I'm gonna add on to those with loyal, because I that's for any person.
Yeah.
But we real big on loyalty, and sure of themselves,
Yeah.
because you just don't want anyone that's. It's not saying that you have to build them up, because you do build each other up, but you got to come with some level of
Security.
yes. So you need to know who you are and build from that.
Because this ain't build a bear.
No. I mean, yeah. I think that's number one.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going?
Yeah. And your son, he's gonna blow past that anywhere. If somebody's coming over that's built like quicksand, Earl's gonna be like, "You're not for me."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Just like that?
Literally like
Yeah.
that. I'm sure you have a text somewhere that says,
yeah.
I've had to learn that.
You're not my person.
But no, I've had to
That's
learn
it.
that.
Yeah.
I'm with that with friends, but I think in my dating life, I've definitely, I have had porous boundaries, unfortunately. Not anymore, but in the past. Yeah.
That's a good thing to have, though. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now Earl definitely has boundaries.
And no wasted time. Because life is too short.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're not my person, then
Yeah.
it's been nice.
And go get yours.
Yeah. Speaking of, have y'all met any of our people before? Any romantic partners? What was that like for y'all?
It was good.
What was your thoughts?
I liked him.
Which
did.
one you talking about? I feel like you like both of them. I don't bring just anybody around.
No.
You gotta be in relationships to meet my mama. Oh, you can say his name. You talking about Courtney.
I like Courtney. I did.
Yeah. Courtney
I
like
like
you.
Robert, too.
He still talk about you. I'm not too many names.
Robert.
Wait a minute. He said wait. We're gonna be like, wait a minute. Hold on. Not too much C now.
You can't give it all to the
You can't give it all to him now. You can say
That's
C.
why I said, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, he really liked you too. He still talk about you.
Yeah.
He talked about you in the first episode.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go and pull that part up. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. My thing is, I've never. Well, I'm gonna let you answer, but I'm trying to think. Oh yeah. Actually, I think like
And I'm like, I'm gonna say.
Oh.
I love black people. The conversations that we're having that are not being handled.
With the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I want you to be happy. If this person is in your life, then I want to know and, and interact and get to know. And, because you never know how things go.
Yeah.
And so, let's go ahead and meet folks. But like you said, I mean, I get it. If you say, well, I'm in a serious relationship with someone, then you meet my mom.
Right.
And that's cool. Yeah. I think that's effective in all relationships.
Yeah. Me too.
Because,
because you don't take everybody.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I can't meet everybody. But the serious people, for all of you guys, I meet the serious people.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me with all 6 of y'all.
Yeah, we having meetings every time.
It's hard enough now. Go, hey, baby.
Yeah. Can't
Yeah.
really keep up with the names.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And I also think like I don't know. I don't know that you have like a real reservation. I think at whatever point I'm ready to bring somebody around, you're like, okay.
I totally trust your discernment. If you're ready for me to meet them, I'm cool with it. And
Yeah.
if you're not, I'm still cool with it. You're a grown man.
Yeah, because I feel like I was glad that he was comfortable enough. Well, both of them were comfortable enough, because you can be in a relationship with someone and they not,
Yeah.
and that's not just, you know,
Yeah.
that's any relationship where you with someone and you thinking, oh, we going over to my mom's and we gonna do such and such, and you really, that's when you find out, oh, they really like don't want to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so but you just have to be with someone that's comfortable with meeting your family.
Right. And to
Being
me,
you have to be family oriented.
Yes.
Because
That's
my
another
family
good
is
thing.
very.
Yes.
I want to bring you in.
Yeah.
Right.
And that speaks to like your level of seriousness. Like if you're not ready to meet somebody's family, I don't trust that you're ready to really be in a serious relationship, because my family, like, it's my family. You know, like they're gonna be in my life, I'm in their lives, and if you are like open to at least like speaking to them, it's also like, as someone who would invite somebody to meet my family, it's like I'm learning a lot about you in that interaction as well. You know, are you going to come around and just stand in the corner and not say anything to nobody? Do you at least like walk? Like, to me, it's very easy just to, y'all know how I am anyway. I'm just going to talk to people. But like, can you at least say hi? And how's your day going? Like, that's just a very simple place to start.
Yeah.
And are you going to be offended if I slap you with a card in spades?
Right. You got to get in there with mine.
Okay. Because they coming.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Last question, so we can wrap up this beautiful segment. So we'll go here. What advice or words of encouragement, and this is specifically for the moms, what words of advice or encouragement would you offer to other mothers who may be supporting their LGBTQ plus children within this journey? And you can layer that however you choose to do so.
I would just say be open and honest, supportive. Because it's not your life. It is a part of your life, but that's to any child or person in your life. Just be yourself, and even if you're not there, be open to getting there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just shut the door.
Sure.
Because look what you're missing out on.
Yeah.
You can't get that back.
Yeah.
Just be just a little more open. That's number one for me. A little more open to seeing what's there besides what you think is there. Yeah, just be open to different things. Yeah.
I think that's very true. You want to be open. You want to be honest. Because your feelings are your feelings.
Right.
And so being honest about your feelings, but then you can kind of travel that road together and get to a point where you have better understanding. As a mom who's lost a child at 23, I just don't see anything being worth losing your relationship with your child. There's nothing that would make me lose my relationship with you. So, and I think for other moms, you have to think about things like that.
That was good.
Last deep breath. This has been beautiful. Again, I'll end with the same intention in which I started with. Thank you all for not just holding space for Earl and Julian, but every particularly Black gay boy watching this show, this very segment right now. Because your view, your perspective, your truth, your honesty is saving lives more than you know. And we as a collective, we as a community are so thankful for that. And thank you for being the beautiful, resilient Black women that you are. and all that you carry, and still being here to share that with us and allowing us to be a part of that. So, as always, Earl, Julian, my besties, love y'all. Thank y'all for this moment. Thank you all for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and again, if you feel led, also share this with others as well.